Okay, we are live streaming and recording, so you can start.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's EIC meeting for Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. I am Bernie Gallo. I'm the chairman of the commission. I have a few thank yous and some announcements, and then we'll get into the agenda. Any questions, wait on through and then we'll go through it, okay? On behalf of the commissioners and myself of the Environmental Impact Commission, I would like to thank our first responders and essential workers for their tireless efforts and commitment to our community during this pandemic outbreak. I would also like to thank Sharon Calitro, Robin Edwards, and Mary Larkin for their efforts in making this virtual meeting happen during this unusual time. For announcements, it's a virtual meeting, as we know, okay? To access this, if you go on the homepage on the city website, you'll be able to get into it, okay? When video recording, which is required to be posted on the city's website, identifies all those participating in the meeting by name and or phone numbers of peers. The commission will proceed following the agenda as posted in standard practice, okay? Commissioners, please use the right-hand function in Zoom if you have a question during this portion of the meeting. Voting by board of commission members shall be by roll call vote only. I ask the public to be patient and respect this as we're conducting this meeting. Any questions on any of that? Anyone want to ask anything, say anything? Okay, we'll start with roll call. Gallo's here. Mary Cronin
Here.
is here. Mary, you're here? Can you hear me? Mary, can you hear me? Jeff Harold,
I'm here.
Mark Massoud,
Here.
Matt Rose,
Here.
Alex Wolk.
Here.
Okay, and Mary's here. I didn't hear her, but I see
Yes.
she's here.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we can go to the agenda now unless anybody has any questions on what I've asked so far. Okay, old business, 1111 Bruce Sonia, 92 West Worcester Street. I believe you're here, and I thought Joe had spoken with you, had he not?
Yes.
Joe, did you speak with Sonia?
I sent her an email yesterday on Sunday. Are you in receipt of the email?
Yes.
I kind of explained
yes.
some of the questions that you had.
Mhm. Yes. Can I read some notes that I took?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So about the plants, we have been in touch through emails and over the phone with Graham from New England Wetland Plants in Massachusetts since March, but they are closed for pickup and they only deliver over $1,000, so they cannot send it to us. And we have to wait until at least May 4th because the governor ordered them to close for pickup. We can get the seeds, but not the trees and the shrubs. And we will do everything you asked until the last meeting, but about the email with the other requirements, we cannot agree with that because we just don't have any money. We are just trying to survive right now. My husband was at the hospital for 3 days, not for coronavirus, for something else. So the work that he was supposed to do himself, now we're gonna have to hire somebody to do it because it's not in the best of health. So, and I can send you pictures or videos if you want on how it is right now. Everything is coming back basically. And even I have pictures from the satellite that shows that nothing really major was done in there. The trees are still there. The only 2 or 3 trees that we took out were the rotten ones, and the vegetation is coming back. So it's not, but we're gonna do everything that was in the plan for sure. But it's not something dangerous right now, in my opinion. And if any of you want to come and see by yourself the property, you're very welcome to come and see and get your own conclusions. But right now we cannot accept to pay more money for that.
Okay, well,
Joe?
the way that it works, and this is the way that it works with all the EIC applications, the two things are separate. So there's a permit for the sedimentation and erosion control, and the bond is associated with that. I understand your hardship, and we could work something out, but the whole reason that the bond is taken to ensure that the work is done, and that's really the only means by which we have control over a site, so that enforcement is done. I mean, maybe Mark could speak to this as well. I mean, he was on when the whole bond thing came up.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
I don't know. I think like you're not trusting us. We paid $1,000 for an architect to.
No, the
do all
trust
the
has absolutely
planning.
nothing to do with it. I don't mean to interrupt you, but trust has absolutely nothing to do with it. This has to do with the process, and this is just how, if you were to get a building permit, well, you'd also need an electrical permit, a plumbing permit, whatever else. So it's not a matter of trust, but that is the way, that's the procedure with which the process works.
Yeah, what I understood in the beginning was everything that you asked us, right? Nobody talked about bond, nobody talked about anything. And now it seems that we are doing everything you were asking, and then you come with something else.
Well, one of the things, no, that's not the case. And if you had come before the commission initially to do the work, initially, it would have proceeded the exact same fashion. So if someone was coming before the Environmental Impact Commission, they would, without doing any work, before anything got done, then we would still go through this process. We would look to what was wanted to be done, what needed to be done, what could be done, and then there would be comments back and forth. And every regulated activity that goes before the commission is required to get a sedimentation and erosion control permit. So
what does that mean? This permit that you're talking about.
So we have, if someone needs to, if someone is doing a project, they need to put up sedimentation and erosion controls. So to stop any dirt from washing down into the river, the soil needs to be stabilized, and protection needs to be put in by means of either a geotextile silt fence or hay bales, something of that nature, to stop anything from washing down into that stream or off-site, if that was the case.
Okay, but why do we need another permit if we have one permit already and we have the plan that we showed that has all?
Well, just because you have an EIC permit or you have an activity that is allowed by the Environmental Impact Commission doesn't preclude you from getting a sedimentation and erosion control permit. They're separate issues, really.
I'm sorry, but I can't understand why all this because of something that is not going to impact at all the stream.
Well, I disagree.
Oh yeah, I know.
Well,
So if I may ask, what are we talking about in terms of bonds and permits? Do we know that?
I said roughly by looking at the plan. I think I put in the emails, like maybe $600, which would result in like a $30 permit.
Okay.
guys,
Based on, I just kind of ballpark that based on the plantings. I didn't get an estimate from the engineer or I didn't require an estimate to be furnished by the engineer for the sedimentation and erosion controls. It was, you know, I kind of ballparked it based on experience and what was put on the plan.
Sure. Oh, it sounds fairly reasonable, but obviously, something, Ms. Bruce, it's, is that is that an amount
Undue
that's
burden.
not
Yeah.
available to you to post as a
No.
bond?
Not at all.
Hey,
Do you,
Mr. Chairman, is there any way we can, I'm sorry, but times are different. Times are tough. I know that, but is there any way we can give like a 90-day forbearance on this or something, at least to see how it works out? Can't we do something like that? It's not that much money, but you know, if they can't do it, they can't do it.
Well, that's actually, Jeff, you make a good point. It's one of the things as far as the grading permit goes, the sedimentation erosion control permit. We could kick that down the road and you know, see if the project goes as planned, then you know, that's something that we can look at. I'm not sure permitting wise exactly how that will shake out. That's kind of our permit center, and they assign they're the ones that do assign the fees. But as far as the bond goes, one of the things that we can do is if there are problems, then we could go like a notice of violation route and require a bond to be taken after the fact. So if that's something that would help this along, then, you know, I'd be willing to do that.
Could we consider like a percentage of taking a percentage of a bond and hoping that that's enough skin in the game, so to speak, to encourage the replanting in hopes of getting that remaining money back?
Well, you know, that'd be fine, Mark. I think that we can probably just go ahead and issue a sedimentation erosion control permit. You know, and then if necessary, like I said, we can look at the possibility of doing a bond down the road should things not go as, you know, as the plan indicates.
Right.
so you're gonna say, we're not gonna eliminate the bond.
Pardon me?
We're not gonna eliminate the bond. She still has to post a bond, right?
For the activity, well, what I'm saying is we can we don't necessarily have to take the bond at this time. What we can do is issue a sedimentation erosion control permit, and she's still bound by the requirements of the sedimentation erosion control permit. And so we could just, you know, keep an eye on the site, and if need be, we can go back, and because there have been instances where sedimentation erosion control permits have been issued, there have been significant issues with the site, and we've required the applicant to post more bond. So we could do that, and obviously we still have the CO process, so, you know, we wouldn't necessarily sign off on the CO until that got done. So I mean, we could pursue that with a legal course of action should that become necessary. So if that, like I said, if that will kind of move this along, then we can forego the bond for now, and work on getting the project done. And if there are issues, then we have other legal recourses.
If you
That
can
make-
give me like 3 months.
Is that acceptable to you?
Yeah,
It certainly is to me. So
Who is that?
that was Jeff. I think we should just offer it and go with it.
And the site is likely to, since it was disturbed, the site is likely to, as again, Ms. Bruce indicated, to grow back in on its own. What comes back in may be another story. It may fill back in with invasives, but it's probably going to regrow in some manner. I'm not saying that's, well, if it fills in with invasives, that's not a great thing. That presents a whole nother problem. But Joe, to your point, you know, well, this started out as a violation, did it not?
Yeah, it did, and
Yes.
they've been compliant with their requirements. So, you know,
We're
what
trying to-
happened and kind of how it went down is that we received a call regarding a complaint about work being done in a wetland area. We went out, we met on site with Mrs. Bruce's husband, and he agreed to be compliant, which they have been. You know, they
Right.
hired an engineer. They've gone through the process as would have been necessary had they come with us prior to any work being done.
Sure, but we're still in an enforcement action as opposed to a permit process.
Well, no, I think it's a permit for a regulated activity.
Okay, all right.
I think we have to understand here. I think we have to understand when we went over there, Joe, part of the lawn they have now was a wetland that was filled in, correct?
Yeah.
So they have lawn now that was illegally filled in and nothing was done about it. So this has to be corrected. If you want to take that route, Joe, with a bond later on, I could go for that.
Well, right. I think that the whole thing is and the reason that we take a bond in the first place is to ensure that the work is done. So we certainly can, you know, if we can certainly get our corporation counsel involved at some point down the road, should things not go as proceeded, Bernie.
Is that acceptable to you, Mrs. Bruce?
Yeah, I think there's no reason for us not to do the work after all we have done up to now.
Yeah, but we have.
You
we
would
have a
think that,
procedure
but
we follow.
that is not always the case, let me tell you.
Oh, no, we're going to do it.
Okay.
All right, we'll have, Joe, can you send her out an email, Joe? How this will work?
Yeah, you bet. And so when you come down for once this gets approved, one of the things you'll have to do is you'll have to come down to our permit center and fill out an application for the sedimentation, road control, the grading permit, and then we can all handle that at the time. But it will go as we discussed.
Okay, and is City Hall open for that?
You can. That's a great question. So
I
you
think
can
we could wait, Joe.
apply online. The permitting process is available online. But I'll figure that out with you after that. I'll tell you exactly. I'll send you an email and tell you exactly how that's going to work. Okay.
Okay.
I have a question,
Acceptable?
if I may. Joe, did
Yeah,
we,
accept, Joe.
did we resolve the fence across the water course issue?
Well, that was actually one of the things that I mentioned in the email that I sent Mrs. Bruce yesterday. We cannot have a fence that goes across the stream. It would be an impedance, and any kind of debris or anything floating down there would cause issues upstream from that. So
Okay, may I ask you something? Is this law or is just what you agreed?
It's more
Because
in the
we have
case
the
of,
fence right now, it's like at least 12 inches above the water. And we've been living here for over, I think 15 years. And the water never goes that high. And my husband is the one that's always cleaning the creek, always getting debris off. He raised the
Joe-
fence, so it's very high right now.
Joe, I think we could leave the fence the way you want it, Joe.
how's that? So right. So you know, I have a serious problem with any kind of fencing across that stream based on the zoning regulations that I quoted and sent to you in that email.
Mhm.
So if you were to get an engineer, again, you would have to hire somebody to say that there would not be any kind of impedance to that stream, and they would have to sign off on that, which I think would be highly unlikely.
So there's no, nothing in the law that says how high it should be if there is something. It's simply you cannot have anything.
To answer that question, I think yes, pretty much. There's really not an allowance for fencing across water courses. If it's not a law, it's certainly a policy by any river management agency, and it could be a dangerous thing, just
Uh-huh.
for the reasons that Joe cited.
I have a question. So instead of putting a fence, can we just put some string so that the deer don't jump over? Like a wire, metal wire?
Well, that's not gonna stop them. I have a, completely fenced in yard, and I have deer in my backyard. So,
So do I.
but if you're talking about a fence, certainly a fence on, as I said in that email, I think a fence on the house side of the stream bank, the west side of the stream bank,
Mhm.
something like that, but nothing going across. And if you want to independently fence in that other section of property on the other side of the stream, and there's that, a gate in between so you can access it.
But the wire wouldn't do it? Because it's not a fence.
And, okay, I don't understand what you think a wire is going to do.
It's going to at least try to deter the deer.
Yeah, I don't think that it would.
Yeah, I don't either. The fences,
But that wouldn't be
fence
against the law.
may in and of itself, but a wire is, in my opinion, is not going to deter any deer, if that's your goal and your purpose.
Mhm. But it wouldn't be against the law to put it on.
Across that, if it's, I don't know, 4 feet above the stream, I guess. What are you looking at?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think that I would think that the solution of having a fence on the west side of the stream bank would be a better solution if you're truly looking to have deer stay out of your backyard.
Yeah, but then it's like we don't own the other side.
Oh, but you do. You're paying taxes on it.
Yeah, but we can't use it.
Well,
Joe,
that's not.
Yeah.
Joe, before we
Okay,
get too
okay,
far with this,
doesn't matter.
Joe.
Yeah.
We don't want the fence across the water. It's that simple.
Mhm.
Okay?
Okay.
Anything else?
I mean, it's
Okay,
fine.
Joe, you'll be in touch with her?
Yep, you bet. I'll shoot off an email and go through the permitting process and how that's working in the time of COVID.
Okay,
Okay.
and we're all set. We're all set.
Thank
Do
you.
you have anything else, Mark?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. You'll send her an email, Joe, and we'll be all set, okay?
Right. So I think, right. Was this already approved, or how does that?
What?
I don't know if this was an approved activity. Did we vote on? Was there a vote taken on this already?
No, not
We didn't
tonight.
vote on it the last time it came up?
I don't think so. I think that Mrs. Bruce couldn't make the meeting and she had some comments, obviously.
Okay, so then we need, well, it's kind of a complicated motion then. The motion will have to read, the fence will have to come off from across the brook.
That's already,
Well,
that's
It
already.
says that in the conditions of approval anyway.
All right, you do all of that? And you want us to approve it? Administrative?
Oh, I think it's a regulated activity.
So I'll make an attempt. I would motion to, hold on a sec. Let me just
Make
get
a
this
motion
back
to
up.
what?
I will make a motion to approve the activity number 1111, 92 West Worcester Street, with the conditions of approval in the staff report, with the exception that the health department will come to terms with regards to a forbearance of the bonding requirement. Does that work?
Acceptable, Joe?
Yeah,
I hear a second?
I'll second it, Jeff.
Yeah. Who seconded it?
That was Jeff.
Jeff Harold?
Yes.
Motion made and seconded to approve this with the conditions as a regulator activity. We have to have a voice, a roll call acceptance, okay? Gallo is a yes. Barry Cronin, yes or no?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Jeff Harold's a yes.
Yes.
Mark's a yes.
Yes.
Matt Rose,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
motion carries. Thank you. You're all set. That's it.
Okay, thank you. I can leave, right?
What?
I can leave the meeting now?
yeah,
Yes.
we're all set.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
I'll send you an
Yes.
email and let you know the process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks.
Okay, I have to back up a minute. I forgot something before Mary gets upset here. Acceptance of the minutes from March 11th, 2020. The only ones that can vote on this are Mary, Mark, Matt, and myself. I need a motion to accept them.
Motion to
moved.
accept.
Who moved it?
Matt.
Matt made the motion? I can't hear you guys.
I'll second. Mark Masood.
Who seconded?
Mark.
Mark? Once again, it has to be a roll call vote. Bernie Gale is a yes. Any omissions or corrections? Drive me nuts here. I'm a yes. Mary?
yes,
Mark's a yes.
Yes.
Matt's a yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda. 1115 Ambergia, I guess it is, Frank. We have a change on this. Nothing on the plans, just on ownership. Dear Mr. Gallo and members of the commission, as you know, I represent the applicant in this matter. For the purposes of this application, the new party in interest in this application is FSI DB LLC, a newly formed LLC, which is the contract purchase of the Golier property referenced above. Please substitute this for Frank M. Bergia T. Very truly yours, Todd Beecher. The plans are the same. Nothing's changed with the plans. And Joe has done an administrative approval on it. He and I did an on-site. And we think we should do an administrative approval on it. Joe, you want to explain it?
Yeah, so basically, everybody has the plans. If they looked at them, very little work in the upland review area is being done. There's like 3 parking spaces, about half of an existing traffic island, and is going to be re-landscaped. But it's basically grinding up grind of the surface and repaving the area with the addition of 3 parking spaces. So very, very minimal work. And the driveway which is going to be milled is in between where the additional incursion into the regulated area. It extends into the regulated area. I don't know, between 10 and 20 feet. So it's really minimal in the incursion.
Any questions on this? Anyone look at the plans?
I have a question if I may.
Go ahead.
Joe, the purpose of the, is this the application with the 2 hydrodynamic separators?
Yeah,
So the purpose of those is to take, I suppose, a larger impervious surface upstream, not upstream, but out of the regulated area?
what, yeah, I don't think that there's, where those are being placed, is not, there's not going to be any increase in impervious soil in that area.
Right, no, I'm just
Impervious
curious as to their, maybe this is an obvious question, their function. They're funneling water from the larger impervious surface out of the regulated area and discharging through them to a water course. That was happening?
I
I'm just
think that
trying to
there's
confirm.
so I think that there's existing catch basins in those areas, and they're replacing them with hydrodynamic separators.
Right, okay,
But I think that the drainage goes to the same areas, just with a.
right, gotcha.
Any further questions? Motion's in order to go to an administrative approval.
Motion so moved to go to an administrative approval in this case.
Who is that?
Jeff,
Oh, Jeff?
Jeff, yeah. The guy with the good hair.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mary.
Remarks, questions? Try your minds. Bernie Gallo's a yes. Mary's a yes.
Yep. Yes.
Jeff's a yes. Mark?
Yes.
Yes,
Mark's a yes. Matt?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you,
very
everybody.
much. Name change, you're all set.
Okay, I'll do up that administrative approval letter and then get that ready for your signature. And I'll figure out with Mary on how we're going to handle that.
Yeah, we can work that out. I can.
Yep.
Shouldn't be a problem. Any further business
Thank you.
anyone has? I have nothing else on the agenda. Motion to adjourn is in order.
I'll make
So
a motion
moved.
to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay. Who did what and who did what? Matt, did you make the motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Yes.
I seconded.
Okay. I can't hear too well with this thing. I don't know. Any objections, any remarks, anything? Nothing. Okay. Steve Gallo's a yes. Mary Cronin's a yes. Jeff?
Yes.
Mark Masood's a yes.
yes.
Matt Rose is a yes. Alex?
Yes.
Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Night.
Thank you.
Okay,
night.
thank
It's
you
been
very much,
fun.
everyone.
I still
Have
see
a good
these
night, folks.
pictures in the post office, you know. On the wall in the post office, I think.